What's the return of investment with technical SEO? What is your return of investment when it comes to technical SEO? Now, there is going to be a way that this will make sense, and I'll also use this off and this on, so I'm going to switch it to on so it has a much better balance. Welcome, Sienna. Welcome to Clubhouse. I see you got a party hat. I hope you are well. Welcome to the space. Deborah, welcome as well. Nick, great to have you here as well. John, thanks for being here too. I'm excited to really bring this topic today. We're going to do some math. It's going to be very easy math, very, very easy math, but you'll be able to look at your result based on what you want to see out of the time you take in, when you're building this for yourself, for your business, for your long-term benefit when it comes to fixing things that are fundamental and not just paying for things or getting things that, yes, are important, but if there's no foundation, then it wouldn't have that importance because there's a fundamental underlying factor that separates the two. So today, we're going to be talking about your return on investment when it comes to your time, especially for SEO technically, right? When it comes to SEO, there's so much that plays into your percentages, your profitability, your margins. What are you paying for? Are you paying for content? Are you paying for structure? That's a big question. Welcome, Deborah, Nick, Isaac, Dr. Fashion in the room. Thank you for being here. TC, welcome too. We're going to talk about this today. And there's a formula that, of course, you know the formula on how it is, but I'm going to do it in the form of SEO technically so that you can also think about how you can position yourself as a business for 2026. So here's the thing. A lot of websites right now are going through a phase of restructuring. And I see as well in the chat, Sienna, and you say I'm new here looking to build a networking community. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Clubhouse is a great space. Been here. This is going to be 6 years in Clubhouse this November. 24th. Welcome, Hidden. Yeah, it's going to be a great time here today because I've thought about this topic and I said, I got to bring this and shed more light on this because there's a restructuring. I can see a restructuring going on where websites they want to rank online, yes, but they also have to focus on what you call canonical tagging. And I talked about that in a whole episode when it comes to sitemaps, robots, tags, canonical tags. These are things that just is another way of saying, how does Google know you and how do you represent yourself structurally on the web? Because we want to rank on all these platforms, yes, but do we have the essential fundamentals to even qualify, to even rank on that search engine? That's why a lot of businesses have websites, yes, but those websites are basically for canvas, for portfolio. They're not organically driving traffic. If you say how many leads did you get in the last month organically, it's not going to be a lot of people that will say a number, but there's also going to be another number of people who could say that they found a couple of people coming to their website. Even if it's minimal traffic, it's enough to send a message that, hey, there's a signal here, let's make more content. So when people create content on social media and they don't bring it to their website, it's a missed opportunity because you have the potential to recreate that content for tomorrow, for another year or 2 or 3. Why am I saying this? The lifespan of a blog, an article, a link that is in a blog category that has a post, whether it's WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, do that, till that, wherever you are, those specific places have, let me just call them content management systems. And these content management systems are focusing on managing your content to serve another system. So it's like you have a car, you're driving that car, but that car needs gas, that car needs batteries, that car needs power, it needs phantom power. Is it a V6, a V8, a V12? Like, what is the goal? Where are we going with this power when you're driving, when you're being self-driven? That's different. So I'm giving you this real life examples that we see with engines, with performance. And we ask ourselves too, what does that look like for your website? If you were to put your website next to your competitor's website and someone said, okay, 3, 2, 1, go. And you're going to the finish line. And the finish line, let's say, takes 6 months, meaning that we both started our businesses at the same time. And in 6 months, let's say we even started the same business industry, we're in the same industry, but we're serving different markets because we're in 2 different locations, right? Let's just make it easy that way. I'm giving you a very hypothetical example, but it's also going to help you see what I'm pointing to. So 2 businesses, new company, same industry, 2 locations. One decides to focus on content, which is social media, posting on websites, great. The other one focused on building community by creating leads or creating a system with the website that can be technically sound so that anytime you push out content, Google sees it, ChatGPT sees it, Alexa sees it, Apple Intelligence sees it, and then eventually your content starts getting seen across search engines, which now puts you as the trusted authority within that niche to answer a specific question that was put in the search box. So if that's the case, then in 6 months, if let's say I had 4 articles, so let's say once a week, I was talking about how do you do this? And in 6 months times 4 is 24. So I've answered 24 questions in 6 months. That if somebody in the next 6 months was to look for that answer, it would be available online and it would be available for free. But the difference is one of them focused on the technical setup, meaning that whether come rain or sunshine, Google does this today, ChatGPT does that tomorrow, your house is built on a solid rock. It's built that it's not going to move left, right. There's going to be a wind, yes, but those are things and challenges you can overcome. If something happens and God forbid your website gets slammed by the updates because you've probably been using AI to write content forever, then that's going to happen to you. There are lots of websites that are losing traffic daily because they have content but no structure. And the structure is not even helping the content because there's now a backlog because you have articles you wrote in 2017, 2021, 2024 that haven't ever been updated or published or remodified. So this changes everything. So as a business, you want to understand and ask yourself, what am I really paying for? What am I really investing in? What is the return on my investment? And I'll give you some calculations, so just do your research. But when it comes to content SEO on Google, on all these platforms, basic content, so we're talking about I talked about 4 articles in a month, right? That means you have 1 article a week, which is what basically almost everybody does. That's normal. That basic SEO, your return on investment to break even, if it is done well, which is also another factor to consider because it's limited impact without a strategy. It takes about 15 months. So remember I said that the lifespan of a blog is 24 months? The lifespan of a Pinterest post or pin is 5 months. The lifespan of an Instagram post is about, give or take, 72 hours. So you're putting a 72-hour shelf life next to, just think about a Mario Kart racing game, and you have different cars. You're about to start the race. One of them has 72 hours of, let's say, boost. Let's use the word boost. The other car has, so the first one is Instagram. That has a good amount of boost. That's 72 hours. Great. The next car is Pinterest. Pinterest has 5 months of boost. Then there's your website that has 24 months of boost. And you know when you play a game and you run out of boost, you have to now wait for some time for it to reload so that you can boost again. Now, take that example and put that on your website and say that, imagine if I updated an article every time I republished it, I have another 24 months. So let's say I published something in January. We're in April. I've already exhausted 4 months of my boost. So I'm going to republish it again. Guess what? It's going to start from 1. So it's not going to start from 5. It's going to start from 1 because we're in April. So that means May is going to be month 2 instead of it being month 5. Why? Because I reboosted in April from the first publish that I made in January, which I already had 24 months out, which I didn't complete. But because I now have a boost, I've reboosted, which means that I've resurfaced again on the search engine to allow me to have more capacity to build more momentum based on the number of people who are actually looking for content like this. Before this room started, I did some research because I don't just talk about these things. I come here with research so I can tell you that this is really happening. Now, I'll give you some instance. Where is this? All right, boom, got it. So if you go to meetglimpse.com/trends, you can see this for yourself. Meetglimpse.com/trends. Just like this Google Trends, you have something like that. So since 2004, Hidden says, what is a core update? I'm going to talk about that because Google just completed their core update this morning at around 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, or daylight savings time. I'll tell you more about that shortly. So, since 2004 till now, there's been an increase of 4% every quarter. And just last month, SEO searches are about 26 million per month. 26 million searches per month. And this is worldwide. This is not just in the US. This is worldwide. In the US, it's 3.1. So people are searching for SEO. What are they really searching for? I don't just look at SEO and say, oh yeah, keywords. What's up, Celeste? I just don't look at keywords, because everybody got keywords. You get a keyword. So what does your keyword make? Why is yours different from mine? What are we really doing with these keywords? So when I look at keywords, I don't just look at the words. I look at the semantics. I look at the structure. Is this word familiar? If someone's looking for cat, is it cat food? Is it cat walk? What is it? Is it a cart? Was there a typo? Like, there's so many things that are so intricate, meticulous, that if you miss, it's not gonna have the same play. And it's also valued and based on your pricing. So we're talking about return on investment today. So for example, search engine optimization for small businesses. If you were to pay Google ads today, you'd be spending $44.40 per click. Now imagine if you had 24 months and you were attributing that 3.1 million plus to about, let's say, 30 million per month, and you're not paying for that. So imagine if you were paying that $44 every time there's a click. That's a lot. That's expensive. Yeah, you can pay for it. You can get it. It's available. That's why it's there. But if you realized that you can save that money and actually build your website to talk about the service you provide that has a value that you're paying for by the dollar, it changes everything. So if someone's looking for search engine optimization for small businesses, The next one is my website, which is $32.39. What follows after that is AI. That means search engine optimization for AI, which is about $28.31. Here we go again. I've done it 3 times for a reason. There's a fourth one, which is website, which is $28.22. I'll just spare the noise. But when you hear that and you think about that, imagine if you add that. It's like going to a grocery store. Okay, this is $20. This is $2. This is $13. This is $55. This is $4. This is $22. This is $25. Before you know it, you check out and you have whatever the price is at checkout, right? If you were paying for all these keywords per day, there are companies that spend millions of dollars on just ads. And when I look at the organic side, it's not as close to how much they're paying for those words that they could have saved by paying ads on them. And not to say that you shouldn't spend money on ads, but imagine if you were spending money on ads, but you were saving at least 30% every time compared to what you're spending now on the dollar. Like Pinterest, you can spend up to about 2 cents per click. So, and you're doing specific niche target marketing. It's not just, oh, this age, this range, they do this, that. Nah. Gone are the days, because people are searching everywhere for content. It's not just Google anymore. People are on YouTube. People are on Pinterest. People are on ChatGPT. People are on Perplexity. They're on Cloud. They're everywhere. They're on Reddit. They're on different platforms at different times. So you can't just say I'm optimizing for Google if the structure of your website is not even allowing Anthropic to even show up on your website listing. It's that deep. So I'll pause there and I'm going to see if there are going to be questions, because we're going to handle that call update too that Hayden talked about. What's up, Celeste? How are you? Happy Wednesday. What's your take on the room today?
Hey, happy Wednesday. Okay, once again, I'm joining late. So I feel like I gotta do some catch up. What did you cover
Just the
already?
overview and just giving, people the insights on what it takes, especially when it comes to breaking even. I've not gone down the list, but there are 4 things I'm going to cover. Technical is the major one, but I just mentioned recently about how, the ROI is about 16%, which you break even about 15 months if you do basic content SEO, which is just technically blogs, just the things that people pay for content wise. But technical SEO wise, if that's not there, that 16% could drop and those 15 months could expand. So I wanted to, to dwell on that just a little bit before we go to the next point.
Okay, so I'm gonna repeat it back like a 4-year-old. Make sure I understand. Okay, so you're saying if someone invests in hiring an SEO expert to help them with SEO, the average ROI will take about 15 months and they'll see about 15 to 16% return. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Yes. Love that stat. I feel like I feel like I'm gonna do more note taking than chiming in here because you know me, I'm all about like organic SEO strategies. And so I've never really researched like data points on like, okay, what's the ROI and, how long does it take? So I think, I'm gonna lean towards your expertise on this subject and, probably ask more questions and give input. Is that okay?
Thank you. Please ask any question in the chat. We're here. If you guys have a question, please put it in the chat. I'm looking at it. If you have a pink ticket, welcome to the Marketing Club. This is a great place where you actually listen, you live, you learn, and you earn on the We Don't Pay podcast show, which is something I talk about. So click the link at the top where it says need SEO marketing replays and more. Save these links now. So this link you see at the top. Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate you for that. When
Oh,
you
the one thing I did want to say super quick is I am
Mhm.
glad that you put in the 15 months because so many people ask me, like, how long is it going to take? How long? That's like the big question. And I always tell people, like, that's a super subjective. Like, there's so many different ways to do SEO, and I've never had like a direct answer. So I'm glad that you actually have done the research to know, like, okay, average, could be a year, 15 months. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. That helps me out personally.
You're welcome. Yeah, I've been looking at different industries because on average in a year, we work with between 50 to 100 clients in a year at least. And there are different industries. It's medical, real estate, food, coaching. It could be baking. The next minute, we're doing a whole site that's focusing on digital automation, AI responses, email marketing. So it's a lot. And I'm wondering, okay, these things are all working. We even work with clients that build apps on the App Store, on Google Play Store. How does it happen? Like, for example, if you have an update on Google Store or Google Play Store, it's about 2 to 3 days to get the update on the back end. With Apple, it's 7 days. So it makes sense when I use Apple. So it definitely makes sense when Google Play Store has an update before Apple because of the timeline. Even when it comes to designs, dimensions, like we've done about 5 redimensions of an app we're working on right now with a client, and they have 3 apps on the App Store plus Google Store. So that's 6. So we're not just talking about one display. It's crazy. So I'm here just doing the math in my head, and I'm like, okay, this is happening. How long does it take? How long did these clients get to that point where their podcasts are on auto dial? People are connecting with them. They're just showing up on Google, Perplexity. Clients are telling me, hey, someone found me on Google, ChatGPT. They hired us. The next minute, somebody's featured on a TV station. It's happening in so many different ways. I'm in Houston. So when I'm looking at it from different places, we work with clients that have massage parlors in New York. They're doing so well. They have an app now. They're doing so well. I even asked him on Monday, I was like, hey, how's business? He's like, we're busy, to the point where the staff is burnt out. It's that serious. So when you think about the velocity, because we've worked with that company for about 24 months now. That's 2 years. Yeah. So now is when they're really picking it up, because I ask them every time, when let's say you work with us, right? You can click the link at the top, and then that will now take you to where you can sign up, or you can just schedule a call with me. We'll have a call. And I always ask this question. Let's say we meet today, or we meet in May, or we meet in August, whenever we meet. The first time I'll ask you this question, I'll want to know what happened around that time last year. So if we meet in August, what happened August last year? If we meet in April, what happened April last year? And what are you seeing this year before we even do anything? Because most people are looking at their websites and they don't know what to do. They're pretty stuck. And I'm seeing them and I'm just like, we're losing traffic. We don't know what to do. It's just getting terrible. There's one client we're working with, they have about over 1,000 sitemaps. And each sitemap has 50,000 URLs. Can you imagine? And this is a company that has been in business for 50 years. So tell me, how are we going to decide or figure this out in 2 months? So it's not going to be just like that. It has to be built in a way that by the time you realize that there's a Google public update, a public core update, Discover core update that happened in February, then there's a March spam update that happened in March. That's why it's a March spam update. We're in April, and the March spam update finished this morning. And actually, when I was doing the research, I got to find out that it's actually the shortest in the history of Google when it comes to these types of timelines it takes to inspect these elements. So let me just explain what a core update is. It's technically it's like, I don't know, I want to give you like a good analogy. It's like saying these are the policies and procedures for how we operate as a business, but here are the modifications we have to make adjustments for reason ABC. So if you see those things changing, it's not that the whole entire structure has changed, but the configuration of the structure has changed. So that means if before Google was doing ABCD, now they might be doing ABCD and F. It's not that they stopped doing ABCD. So what's happening now is with Google, with this spam update, they are smarter than, of course, when it comes to AI, it populates about 82 plus billion searches a day. If you think about it, before it was like about 8 billion, but now with AI, it's even gone way up because you have so many integrations. It's not just Google bot. There's Cloud Vertex. it goes very deep into these clouds and these stratospheres of the internet, if I can put it like that. So as a business, the goal right now is to ask yourself, do I have a structured website? Do I have a website that if Google crawls today, I can see myself on actually Google tomorrow? And that way I wouldn't have to spend more money, even though I would still have to invest in money, but it's not going to cost me more because I have a structure. And that structure helps a lot. So as a business now, you're not just thinking about content, because you can have content all day, but if that technical structure is not in place, you technically have an amazing, I can say, bouncing castle, but there's a little piece of air on the bottom side of the bouncing castle that's just, it's very tiny. You can't see it. It's like a car that has a punctured, you can't see it. It's tiny. But when you start noticing your tires flat, you can't bounce on that jumping castle no more as you could, then you know something went wrong and you didn't see it early. So to avoid that wreckage, the goal is to ask yourself, do I have my right schema markup in place? That's another way of saying, do I have micro data that allows search engines to scan beyond my text? Because on-page SEO is all the keywords, the headings, all that good stuff. But with technical, it's your page speed. It's how well does your page load. Google right now loads anywhere below 2.5 seconds. If anything is above 2.5 seconds to load, that's a problem. And then there's mobile, there's desktop, there's tablet. You see how complicated this can get? It shouldn't be, but let me put it this way. It can be much less complicated if we focus on building the right foundation. It's like a relationship. You don't focus on material things. You focus on the fundamental things. Can we have peace together? Can we build this together? Can we think alike? Are we equally yoked? There are questions that have to be answered that's going to produce a result you want to see. And if that result is not part of the equation, it's going to be hard for you to articulate that long term, because at some point, something's going to shake, and that shaking is going to create a wreckage. That's why there's constructive arguments and destructive arguments. When it comes to SEO, there's constructive SEO and there's destructive SEO. Constructive SEO means, hey, we got keywords, we got blogs, we got schema, we got the right robots tags, we have the right canonical tags, we have the right meta titles, we have the right information, we have the right images, everything is correct, our X robots tags are working, our keywords are not missing, we have the right URLs, they're actually pointing correctly, and they have the right pathway, and it's connected to a domain, and it's active. If you can answer that, literally everything I just said now all the way to the top, you'll be fine. But if any of one of those things are missing, it's going to be something that you have to go back down. It's like snakes and ladders. If you've played that game before, you get a 6, you get a 3, you get a 2, then you go down to 44, you come back up again. It's like that. So if you really think about this, it's not just, I got to paste this here. I fixed it. It's not a cookie cutter thing. So with SEO, it's different. The ROI is 16% within 15 months. Now, here's really where it gets serious. Just listen to this. If you did your technical SEO and you focus on all those things I talked about when it comes to crawling, because there's a difference between crawling and fetching, right? Crawling is Google scanning your page. It's like a baby crawling from the door to the other door. When you crawl, there's a pathway. How long did it take you? 2 seconds to crawl, 5 seconds to crawl, 50 seconds to crawl? That's going to be based on how much time, what do they call it? Yeah, crawl budget. That's the word. Crawl budget is not based on spend financially or monetary wise. It's based on time. So if you think about how much time you spend, that's your crawl budget, right? And that's the time it takes Google to crawl your site. So if it takes Google 30 seconds to crawl your site and it gets everything because all your codes are working correctly, all the cars are in motion, then I got everything I need. I'll move to the next one. When you have a very high crawl budget, it allows you to have more authority because you have more structure. If, let's say you have 10 rooms, but 7 out of those 10 rooms are not in structure. One is leaking, the other one, the window is out, the other one, something is not working, the door's not opening. It's going to be stressful because there are a lot of problems than solutions. So when you have a website, it changes. We just did that with a client just now. We just finished our website. The next thing you see, Google is saying, hey, you have a blocked error message here. And you don't know what to do. We just built the website. But Google is saying, hey, and we just connected the website to Google Search Console. But the first error message I got was this and this. And I saw this morning. I said, interesting. Then I got into the back because we built it on WordPress and it was fixed. Not because it was a problem, it was a default. And most people build a website and leave it on their default. Like someone can just say, oh, I installed Yoast on WordPress and that's it. Or I just put this and that happened. It's not like that. Because if you do that, it will play a lot of big roles. We have another client, they have it on Wix. There's a section in your settings and SEO settings on Wix that it's turned on by default. And I was like, this is actually crazy. Because if this thing is on, it's triggering the wrong signal and it's making Google feel like, oh man, I'm not supposed to touch this site. So you're communicating a negative tone that is telling Google, hey, don't come close to this page. And Google will obey you. Google will say, okay, you said I should not touch this site. I'm not going to crawl this site. And that will definitely happen. So with the new crawlability mapping that we're talking about, when it comes to page speed, technical setups, ask an SEO expert and ask, what is my structure looking like? What is my website structure looking like? Don't ask, hey, do the buttons work? Is this working? Those things are important, but your goal should be, can this thing be seen across different search engines without them being duplicated? Yes, Hidden. Hidden, did you want to say something?
Oh, I couldn't even hear you. Hello?
Can you hear me? Wait, can y'all hear me? Wait a minute.
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Hidden, if you can hear me, let me know. Give me a thumbs up or put in, okay, you said conversions in the chat. So, you probably heard me. Okay. Yeah, it's big.
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What's good?
Yeah. You took the words out of my mouth before because I see a lot of people look for websites, but anybody can build you a website. If it's not built for conversions, you just pretty much just gave away your money, because now you still got to start from scratch all over again because you have to optimize the website for conversions and search engines. And a lot of people don't think about that when they get websites made. And
Oh, we lost you.
I was saying lots of people get websites, but they don't really have anything in mind. They just want it, like you said, it's just a bouncing castle. They just want it to look good. And a lot of people don't get, they don't have the website created for conversions or optimized for search engines, and that's where it's like, you just gave your money away, you don't realize it, and you have to start from scratch. So you kind of elaborated on.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a big deal, when you look at the intentionality right now for websites and the importance. Like, this is a big deal, super big deal. Like, I sent an email today to a client. We've been going back and forth. I'm actually going to look at it right now. I'm on my computer. So let me just go there right now to give you actual numbers. So we worked with this client, and the one I told you about with the sitemaps, and this is a technical, I could call it SEO case study in audio mode. So please listen to this story so that you can see what I'm talking about when it comes to how sensitive this can be. Now, there's a website that we have, a client that we have, and their website has at least 30 million plus pages across their site. Some are broken, some are not found, and broken, not that they're not working, but they're alternated. In other words, they don't have the full capacity to grow because they keep getting error messages that reinforces restructuring. And like today's the 8th. Yeah, so March 8th, they had an error message, and April 7th, they had another error message. So I've told them to fix this because they fixed one out of a couple others. I won't mention the full length, but they fixed one. It's kind of like saying, oh, I fixed one tire, but I got 3 flat tires. How are you going to drive that car? So I said, hey, you got to fix this. When you do this, let me know so we can do this again. It's consistent. And this is when month 5, right? This is month 5. Because this is what? November, December, January, February, March, April. 6. We're 6 months in. So first 3 months, we had to do some redigging. Like we had to look and say, okay, here's a problem. This is not working. This has to be fixed. This is the reason why we're not getting those results. So why it's changing now is because within 6 months, within the first 3 months, it was structure based. This is not working. You have an account here. This is not connected. It's like fixing problems before sorting out the solution or scaling the solution. So first month, every time we work with a client, we don't know your business. You know it better than we do. But the more, it's like a relationship or friendship. The more you get to know someone, the more you're like, okay, I get it now. And of course, when you do your research and what's available is enough for you to at least understand what you're actually getting involved into or in. So we looked at the website and we said, okay, this is something we need to fix. Month 2, we turned on indexing in a whole new way. And we started mentioning that there are some different things that we have to set in place, because even on Pinterest, if you're not getting traffic from Pinterest and you just have an account with Pinterest, it doesn't mean that you're connected to Pinterest. So we had to go on Pinterest and change that as well. So that was flipped. When that was changed, okay, next thing is we still have a problem because we keep getting 1 million, 2 million, it drops to 1.5. Before you know it, we're in 1.7, yay, it drops to 1.3. Like it just kept on having a bouncing effect, and that changed everything. So I said, no, we can't keep doing this because I can see the problem and you guys are not fixing this. We need to fix this so we can see the solution from the jump. And they were like, oh yeah, we'll fix it. 3 months came in, our term contract ended, and it's time to renew. And I was like, okay, we're gonna, give it some time. And that's what they said. And I said, good, let's give it some time because you want it to breathe, right? It's fine. We can consistently keep going, adding more to this so that you can churn more later, or hold off for now and watch it fly. So when we come back in 3 months, it helps. Like there's a client right now we're working with. They own about 5 locations within Nevada and California. Right now, their Pinterest is at 1 million monthly views per month. And we stopped working. We paused last month. And we're going to continue like in the summertime because, it's springtime and everything is happening. So now people are focusing on purchasing products. And they're making about $40,000 a week plus on average. That's just a figure just to give you. So now if they're making 1 million monthly views on Pinterest, when 4 months ago, they were still making that within their stores, but at a lower average because they didn't have as much inventory within their technical setup, which they now do. And if people go on Google and they're searching for something, they find their post on Pinterest. They find their article on Google. They find them on AI results engines. So now you realize it's not that we did any magic. It was structure. There was a problem, we fixed it. We scaled up the solution and we realized there's an opportunity. There's a market. So we plugged that in. That's for them. Now back to this company. Now that we were able to fix those tags, we're able to make sure that those tags are responding well, because you can have 3 URLs. You can have HTTPS:// www. Then you could have www. and then you could have http:// your domain. Those are 3 URLs in one. Same destination, 3 different parameters. So the question is, like Hidden said, conversions. When someone is paying for something, they're on a link. If you're paying for a product today on a Google site, even Amazon, if you're on Google, if you're on Amazon, if you're on a website, a shopping site, an e-commerce store, you're on a URL. You're paying for something at the checkout, but that checkout starts with HTTPS because it's secure. So the structure is so important, because if you don't even have structure, that website will tell you it's not secure. Don't do anything here. Because if you do anything and anything happens, it's on you. It's kind of like saying, don't touch this fire because you could burn, and then you touch it and then you complain. So it's better to be cautious and just look at it and say, okay, how do we fix this? Let's fix this first. Let's give it some time. Now, let me give you the numbers between what I said earlier and these numbers now. These numbers will shock you. Here we go. Technical SEO is about 117%. And when you have a fundamental strategy to have a scalable pathway for your website and your technical SEO is sound, that 15 months could drop to 6 months. It could drop to 6 months. So just imagine this. You have 24 months as a business. Thank you for the 100% Hidden. Appreciate that. When you have 6 months, because right now, this client, right, we're on pause right now. And I sent an email. I said, hey, please check your dashboard because it keeps updating consistently. When we left, this was when, like February, March, thereabout, they were averaging about 1.5 million pages indexed. Today, not today, because this is usually not in real time, but as of late, what was the last update? Yeah, April 5th, 2026. Yeah, today is April 8th. So 3 days ago, their page now has their website rather, has 3.3 million index pages compared to 1.5. So they've already gone over the 50% mark. They still have 20 plus million pages to go. And I told them, because you have a large website, it's not going to be an overnight success. So I'm going to give you a very good realistic measure so that you don't say that this thing is a plug and play. Once the structure is there, it's like when a house is built, the house is built. If it was built on sand, all right, there's the sinking sand. If it was built on a solid rock, if it was built on a sturdy foundation, then you don't have to worry about anything, because now you have structure, you have positioning, and you have a brand, you have a plot, you have a plan that is going to outlive the timeline, because now you have something that can be passed on to and can also be connected back to. Because anytime you're online, whether you send an email, whether you're on social media, whether you're running a campaign on ads, whatever you're doing, whether it's organic or paid, that structure is going to hurt or help you. Because if you have a lot of traffic that comes to your website and it's not structured correctly, you could be getting skewed data. If it's not protected correctly, you could be getting skewed data. But if you have a good technical savvy sound website, then it's there. There we go in the chat. HTTP is easily hackable. Hidden, tell us more about that, because I want people to hear it. I just don't want to be the one only talking about this. So how critical is hypertext protocol language for security measures on websites that are, within domain properties today online?
If my mic works correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, HTTP is easily hackable, especially like WordPress. But like you said, Wix. Lots of people they get websites, but they don't buy the domain. So they working on that. What they call those domains, the ones that they give you when you come in. So lots of people, or I see people buy the domain actually, but they never actually connect it. They just.
Ooh, we lost you again. We got to get it back. Hidden. Give him a few seconds.
Can you hear me? So basically, lots of people. I see lots of people. They, they get those. They buy They get the domains that they give you from the platform, or they never buy the actual domain, and then they post it up. And a lot of people don't realize that people are hacking away at what you have the whole time because it's not secured. And that's why I tell people lots of times, go buy your domain first. Domain, because that's going to be your eminent domain. So, definitely get your HTTPS more than anything, not the HTTP.
Thank you so much for that highlight. It's super important to think about these things. We always see them on our websites, on domains that we visit, and we wonder, okay, how do we install these plugins? How do you install these codes and also secure it? Because HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So when you hear the word protocol, you hear structure. That's technically what it is. Protocol is structure. This is happening this way, that way, procedures, policies. So if there's a protocol that is going to be based on hypertext markup language, which is HTML and not HTTP, the seed is hypertext. So if hypertext is transfer protocol friendly and it's markup language friendly, it's like having a Mercedes and you have an E-Class, there's an S-Class. Because of those different things, right? You now ask yourself as a business, how do we take the next step so that we are not confused and also confusing? Because it's one thing to have a website and it's another thing to connect a website to Google and Google doesn't know which one to refer back to because you don't have the right domain property installed. So it's very important to look at your domain authority. So the percentage is that 117%. Within 6 months, you'll break even. And it will play a big role into your structure. Why? And we're not just talking about putting schema markup or putting open graphs. Those are things that happen, right? But there's also an underlying factor because you could be having an error. Like I was telling one of the clients, the same one I was talking about, they have a 403 error message. And if it's a 403 forbidden error message, that plays a lot into how your protocol is even being read in the first place within your domain. So when you're sending out emails or receiving emails, you're technically focusing on mail exchange records. They call them MX records. That's in your DNS. Go to your DNS on Wix, Squarespace, Namecheap, GoDaddy, Bluehost, Hostinger, SiteGround, wherever you go, you'll see it there. MX records. Even when you buy a Google Workspace, you have to connect your MX records. When you send emails, you have to put an MX record. You have to put an SPF record. That's a sender policy framework. Are you hearing these words? Policy, protocol. What does that tell you? There's structure. You can't just have a website because it looks good. I saw a website I audited and I told them that their canonical tag was pointing at a local hosting and they were surprised. And I was like, yep, there it is. I didn't even have to scroll down because I go first technical. I'm not going to go to your content. Yeah, you can look. It's like saying you're beautiful, you're handsome, but you have a terrible character. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So it's even the Bible says it's your heart. It's the character of your heart that God is looking at, not your physical, what everybody sees with the naked eye. It's what you tell yourself at night. It's what you truly tell yourself about yourself. And we all do that, including myself. Self-care, self-check, reality check, health check, website health check. All these things are checking because even when you have a car, you do an emission check, right? you do it every year. If you have a business, you pay every year. So you think about your website and you ask yourself, why am I paying for this domain every year? Because I want to remain consistent in delivery. Every year you should go up. I did a calculation. Your domain usually ranges between 0 to 7. Let me just say 1 to 7. It ranges from 1 to 7 points per year. It could definitely go up, but that means if you have a new domain that has never seen the traffic lights of day, you start at 0. It's like being born day 0. And think about it. When we say we're born, we're born 9 months after, but we were conceived 9 months before. So how old are you really? When you think about when you bought your domain, what age it was, what year it was, what time it was, and then every other year you're creating content, 12 months, 48 months. You're building consistency. And then you realize I'm on the top search for this topic because 2 years ago, I drove this conversation this way or that way. It's very, very important to think about these things as a business because your website is your core foundation online. You can't depend on social media to sustain a brand. It's going to enhance your brand, but it's not going to replace it. You can be on Instagram.com, YouTube.com, Threads.net, TikTok.com. You can be on even Google.com, but if you don't have your own website.com, it's going to be hard to scale this. So that's the amount of time it takes. For e-commerce, it's usually between 12 to 24 months. That's why I say e-commerce when you have a new product store, and I'll dive deeper into that one day. If you want to really improve your traffic, your conversions, that definitely plays a lot into your email marketing, and you have an ROI of about 2 to 5x. So that just depends on how you're able to do it. And then that's about 12 to 24 months out. So if you think about that long term, it helps you as a business. Now, there's one that actually surpasses all of them, which is crazy. And when you think about SEO and return on investments, you think about it as a business and ask yourself, okay, what are we doing? We've talked about the basic part, that's just blogs. We talked about the technical, which is 6 months, which everyone wants to get to. But if you start at the finish line in mind, I say that again, start at the finish line in mind, because you're going to get up to the finish line eventually. But if you get there faster because you had it in mind to get there, like Usain Bolt did, for example, and broke the record, the world record, then he saw the end in mind. So when you see the end in mind and you're able to reverse engineer that back, you're like, okay, what do I have to do to get there on time, safely, and sound? And that requires consistency in delivery. If you stop, someone else is going to take it over. If it's a relay, a marathon, someone's going to run over past you or pass the baton over to the next person. So if you think about your business, SEO is something that I talked about this last year and the year before, and I was like, SEO is of course, it's still going to be there. But I feel like the way SEO is going, it's going to turn into thought leadership. That's really what it's going to be. Who is a thought leader? Thought leader, thinking leader. Who is thinking the most? Who is thinking through processes? Who is thinking through challenges? Who is thinking through that? Because as a leader, you're helping people who haven't gotten there or need to get there through your guidance. Moses on the Red Sea, guidance. Like you think about leadership. There's leadership, there's mentorship, right? That leadership is by thought. So if we are thinking, even Henry Ford said it, if you can or you can't, you're right. So if you have a structured website that you know for a fact serves products or services, and you're the thought leader in your niche for that, then you should have at least anywhere between 5 to 10 quality pages per month. And that means you're focusing on intent research, you're focusing on optimization, you're focusing on things like tables, FAQs, glossaries, case studies, comparison tables, infographics. You can talk about podcasts, YouTube. Like, give people everything that they need, because when you're able to give someone content like a candy store, and they can read your text, they can listen to your message, they can watch the content, they can download the content as an image, they can sign up to your email list because it's available, they can see people are also coming to your website because there's activity going on, or people from Switzerland came here, smart people from Venezuela came here, brilliant people from the United States of America came here, people from Ghana came here, people from Nigeria came here. When you see that, when it comes to e-commerce stores, and say, oh, this person bought a shoe, or this person bought a red bag, or this one bought a makeup kit, this one bought a bicycle. Like, you're gonna see different types of things. You're like, oh yeah, me too, I want that. Oh, what did I just see? Let me go check it out. That's gonna take time. On Pinterest, you can actually convert within 4 months. Every 2 weeks, I meet with Pinterest staff and we talk about our clients. This has been happening for years now, and it's consistent because we are seeing clients making strong strides in shorter sprints because they have deeper relationships with large language models. If you can really think about this long term and say, hey, let's stop moving up and down and trying to figure out what's happening when we can see clearly there's a problem. We're not getting any traffic. We don't even have a heat map on our website. If you don't have a heat map on your website, that's a problem already, because how do you know what people are doing on your site? Do you know their low intent? Do you know medium intent? Do you know their high intent? How do you know what is what? And how do you determine what is what based on what you see? So there's so many meticulous factors that you don't want to miss. And that's why technical SEO is so important, that if you think about thought leadership and mix this all in, and you have these strong keywords per month, that means you have about 50 pages? Let's say it this way. Let's actually put it this way. 10 times 12 is 120. So you have 120 pages because you had 10 pages a month talking about one topic per month. That gives you 748%, and you break even in around 9 months. So if you look at this, do your research, do your numbers, crunch them. There's always going to be a comparative number. Don't use that number and say, oh, it's 2%, and then it's not going to be. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Gas prices are changing again. So just focus on the fundamentals. Don't be thinking about the wind blowing or there's a butterfly. Focus on what grows, because what's growing is what's going to save you tomorrow. That shade you're looking for in that tree, it starts off with that seed you plant today or now. So think about your technical SEO. How fast does your page load? How do you want to test this out? You can go to Google Lighthouse. You can go to gtmetrics with an x.com. These are websites you can check for free. Go to siteliner.com. Check if you have duplicate pages, if you have broken pages. And if you have those pages, fix them. Because Google Search Console will tell you, hey, you have X number of pages that are not working. So the earlier you're able to fix it, the faster your car is able to drive, the further your car is able to drive, and the more sustainable your business can be online. So if you have any questions, please put in the chat, and I hope I was able to give you a response to this. Now, Celeste, when it comes to content, and someone's thinking about how to structure their time with content, what would you tell them if they're a business owner?
Ooh, that's a good question. So, as you were talking and as I'm analyzing like all the points you're bringing up, I kind of coined myself as like the lazy marketer. And basically what that means is I'm always looking for like the lowest time investment wise strategy to get the most maximum result. And so what I always recommend, we're talking about content, is try to do some research to figure out, okay, what are actually people looking for that relates to what you do, that you can put out content wise, that you can actually get eyes on what you do. Because I feel like so many people are out here just like, ooh, let me do this, let me do that. But there's no data to back up the decision. And I always tell people, listen, CEOs and bosses, they make data-driven decisions. So my best suggestion is, there's tons and tons of free research tools that you can use when it comes to SEO. Obviously, my favorite one, which they really need to give me a sponsorship at this point. I feel like I say this at least 10 times a day. Semrush, SEMrush.com. You can literally go on there, put in, if you're a massage therapist, right? Put in massage therapy, and it will actually show you somewhere like towards the middle of the page. It says questions. What are the most commonly searched questions based on kind of what you do? And then you use those questions to drive the content creation piece. That to me is like such a missed point with a lot of people. They're just, kind of doing what they see, which, okay strategy, but it's better if you actually have data to back up what you're actually doing. So that would be my suggestion for the content.
I love that. Thank you for highlighting that. Hidden, if you're able to speak, you said ads are the quickest way, but you need to know top of page bid. Yes, that is so important. Talk about that too, Hidden, and I'll bridge what you've said and also what Celeste said too.
Well, earlier when you were talking about the $44 a click, so that's probably the top of the page bid. So that's probably the max it costs to get in front of the audience the quickest. So if you know it costs $44, and you have to be willing to at least put in $45 to get in front of that person. So if you're willing to give up $45 to get the lead, then you can get it. But there are other ways to skin a cat, what we call backdoor methods, or like you said, the glossary method. The glossary method is the most powerful way to me, because you could buy hidden keywords with thousands of views, and it might cost you like 40 times less than it do for that broad topic or that broad keyword. So if it's broad and it's going to be expensive, that means it's a lot of competitors. It's a lot of people competing for that word. Like I think it was AI SEO you said earlier, but if you understand that the broad topic or the broad word is going to be where the most competition is. So you're gonna have to pay the most, and you're gonna have to do the most to get in front of everybody, or what we call first page rankings. So first page rankings, you have to look and see what's on the first page. You have to at least be doing what that person is doing or more to organically remove them.
Yeah, that part you said last, or more, is important, because let me just give you an example too. If let's say that business has been ranking for a keyword, let's just use the word keyword, for let's say 3 years, because they wrote that article 3 years ago. Now they're benefiting off of that article because they keep updating that article every year at least once. That in itself is already getting you to a position that you have page authority and also domain authority. So there are two. There's page authority and domain authority, DA and PA. DA is domain authority across your whole site. PA, page authority, is across your whole page, which is one page. So each page authority has one count, because you could be talking about one topic and that topic is filtered like a library and say, oh, we want to talk about history. All the history books are in the H aisle. So that's literally what it looks like semantically or structure wise. So as you said that too, when you think about the top and the page bids and how much somebody has to spend, like I'm looking at my chart now, search engine optimization with AI on Google costs $39.84. And then it says search engine optimization with Google is $21.80. Then it drops to WordPress, which is $8.22. So imagine you're spending anywhere from $8 to $40 per click on the same information that you could be spending 2 to 4 hours and structuring online, which will allow you to still get that same type of result. Because when the paid ads stop working or stop running, then organic turns on. It's going to switch. it still be there. It may not be on the same top level, but now that it's there in a structural manner, or even in a structured manner, it's even better. Because let's say you have content, right? Like Celeste was saying too, you have content and you're building this content for delivery purposes, right? How to tie a tie, how to bake a cake. You're giving people very practical, actionable strategies to take steps to a completion that is 100% satisfactory to them, not to you. So if you're creating content that's going to have structure in place, then the goal is to understand why they even want that in the first place and why are they consistently looking for the same information. It means that not many people have discovered the answer because they keep searching. That's why it's search engine optimization. If you knew the answer to the question, you wouldn't search for it again. So search engine optimization means that there are people that are searching for specific terms, definitions, results, intentionalities consistently, and they're going to factor that based on the different results that they get. They can ask Apple Intelligence, tomorrow they can ask Siri, the next minute they'll ask Alexa, before you know it, they're asking Google. And then they might be on ChatGPT and then the next minute on Cloud. Or they could even be on Manus. So you start creating these sentences, these pathways, this problem solution friendly ways of doing things that allow you to also ask yourself, if I was to search for my own business on these AI platforms, what would I get? What would be my response? And if I'm not answering these questions because I'm not using these words well, then it will be hard, because you can have the best technical SEO and the worst content SEO. And just because your technical SEO is working well, your terrible content is going to be performing well. Not that it's going to convert, but it's going to be available to the market. So just think about that for a second. It's like saying you have great content and if you think about your content for 2026 and you focus on the technical setup, which will take you at least 6 months. Now you know you have between 6 months to 24 months to see a big change, right? You might see it in the first 2 weeks. If you have a new website, definitely it's going to take you 12 to 24 months. That's guaranteed. It's like a business that just started on day one. You're not going to be making X amount in overnight. Even if you are, let's say, invested into or something happened, it's still going to take time to build because you have a whole new product, you have a whole new market, and you have a whole lot of decisions to go through. So if you're thinking about your return on investment, focus on the time. So when we build your technical SEO, we give it 6 months. We'll work with you for 6 months. And within 6 months, you'll be able to see the results. And we'll work again for another 6 months. We'll keep going. We're working with clients that are 2 years, 5 years plus, because we know that consistently, there's consistency in structure. All we're doing with the structure is we're rebuilding it. It's like you have a house for 30 years. Every 5 years, you keep rebuilding it. You've done that 6 times across 30 years. So every time you did it, you had a new version. Version 1 didn't look like version 6, or doesn't look like version 6 now. So when you look at that long-term effect for your business, for your brand, and you focus on the technical setup, and technical means how fast it loads, how well it crawls, does it have the right explicit rules within your bot control system to configure the right information through each server? There's Anthropic, there's Claude, there's Yandex, there's so many out there. There's Pedal. It keeps growing crazy. I've seen so many bots now, I even know their names. So it's very important to think about this thing, because if we don't understand who we're talking to or how we're talking to them or how they'll find us through the information they're looking for, it's going to be hard for us to rank. So people say, oh, how do you rank on ChatGPT? Don't rank on ChatGPT. Rank on search engines. ChatGPT will find your resource or your citation resourceful to whoever is semantically looking for the resource that you can provide. And mentally, critically, technically, what's happening now with the spam update and the Discover Core update, especially the Discover Core update, it's based on your web app activity. So it's your web activity and your app activity. So if you have apps on your phone and you go to websites on your phone, whether it's Safari, Chrome, DuckDuckGo, Firefox, Brave browser, whatever it is, Opera, wherever you have those browsers, right? You are using these browsers to access servers. And even Quora mentioned it so well. And I actually want to give you guys the yin and yang of today's conversation. Because once you get this point right here, this is it. Quora said, and I think this is after a summary of different things that have been discussed, a helpful analogy is that HTML, which is hypertext markup language, which I talked about earlier, is the letter, which is the content and its structure. And HTTPS, which is hypertext transfer protocol, is the postal service, the system that delivers it. So if you're focusing on having a set of rules that tells people, hey, this is a code 200, this is a code 404, this is a code 403, this is a 301, this is a 302. What do those things mean? Because those are codes. Those are transmitting data points across the internet. That's why you have a DNS. Like we have a DNA in our bodies, the same way websites have a DNS, a domain name system, a domain name server. These servers are transmitting signals. When you send an email, when you receive an email, these things are happening within your domain name server. Is it within a hosting? What type of hosting is it? What's the bandwidth? What are we talking about? Are we creating content or are we creating structure? Are we doing both? So these things are very important to look at. So when you look at those two, think about the markup language and the communication protocol as two things that come together. And when they come together and they make sense and they're adding value, and you have your right tags, you have your right titles, you have your right text formats, you have your right context, I can say, and also content, then you'll definitely be at a good spot, definitely with technical SEO. So give yourself anywhere between 6 months to 24 months to see results. And that's technically 6 months to 2 years. And by year 3, year 4, year 5, you'll be happy you spent those first 2 years building a surface that is sturdy, that has semantic abilities to grow. And because you're doing it once, you don't have to do it again as strenuous as it was the first time. It gets better. It's like going to the gym. When you go to the gym, you work out, it may be hard the first time, you keep going. Eventually you're like, okay, this makes sense. I want to do this better. So think about this and ask yourself, are we doing this for ourselves or are we going to get people to do this for us? And if we are, how are we going to vet them? How are we going to know that they can do it for us because they did it for someone else? So this is some things to really think about as a long-term business planner if you want to think about technical SEO for 2026 and beyond, because these things are going to help you structure your website better, have a much better outfit and a much better outlook. So when you look at these numbers and ask yourself, where do I range between these numbers? Then I know, okay, I have a range of anywhere between 16% to over 750% to be able to have an impact within a 6 to 24 month period. And that way you're able to say, okay, now we can talk technical, now we can talk structure. Because the content will always be there. You can always update content, because the longer your content stays not updated, the higher the chance of it decaying. Because every day that your content is not updated, that's an additional day that's in the decay line. So if you haven't updated your content 2,500 days ago, 2,000 days ago, 20,000 days ago, and you have a domain that you've been renewing for the last 5 to 10 years plus, those are things that could hurt you than help you. But if you flip the switch, they'll actually help you and launch you forward, because you have a longer track record, you have a higher trust score, and you have more credibility because you've been there as a domain before the others came through. So think about these things, and your last modification dates are also going to be very important, because that's what's telling Google, oh, this person was here today, they updated this thing an hour ago. Okay, this person came here 10 years ago, and now we have a new tokenization, which is now, not to say a duplicate copy of the original, that's now having a new date on the back end. So I hope this helps you, gives you insight and gives you foresight so that you're able to understand where we're going with technical SEO and building it better for better structures across your sites. Hidden, is there anything you'd like to say? One more thing before we go, because I don't see any questions in the chat. So I think we did justice to this topic. But if there are any questions, please put in the chat. We'll definitely answer you. So Hidden, what are your thoughts, and what would you say the last words would be for you? Hidden is probably busy right now. Yeah, there we go. I knew it. On a call. That's fine. Awesome. I'm glad we talked about this and we covered this today. I don't see any questions in the chat, so that tells me, okay, we good. We good. So this was a topic I wanted to bring to you, and there are more topics I'm going to be bringing to your attention very soon. I'm going to be talking about search engine optimization for small businesses. I'm going to be talking about search engine optimization with AI. I'm going to be talking about search engine optimization in marketing, search engine optimization for my website, search engine optimization for AI, search engine optimization for your website. And there are others as well, like with Google, with digital marketing. Is search engine optimization still worth it in 2026? That's going to be very important information for us to talk about. So I do have topics here for you that's going to cover different things, especially how to get clients using your website. How do you just put your website in a way that it's operating at a high performance, that every month you come back to your website, you can be happy because you set a structure in place. And that can set you a really, really long, far structure-based content platform that you can actually use for long-term sustainability. Don't just think about your website and think about it like a cardboard or as a portfolio. Think about it as a place of rest, as a place of connection, a place of impact, a place of, I can say, relevance, and highly sustainable links that can keep you afloat and also keep your business in motion. Because the more traffic you're getting to your website, the more visibility you're getting. But if you're not adding that visibility and churning that out to actually create structure, then you have unstructured data. Unstructured data is like bricks, sand, window panes. You have all these things that look good, but you don't have a structured data, which is a house or a building that is actually built from the root, from the ground up. It's like a tree. So you have to think about how it's structured. And the more you're able to see this structure for yourself in 2026, the better your business and website is going to look for 2027 and beyond. So I hope this gave you some insight and gave you some knowledge. If you have any question, click the link above. That's going to take you to where I send newsletters. I send out newsletters for episodes like this so you can learn more. I'm very, very detailed into my emails so that you can learn more about this. If you want to get on a call with me, it will redirect you to a calendar. Let's talk at your earliest convenience, and let's spare 30 minutes and understand what you need for your business so we can understand what you need to save on when it comes to your time, your money, and your energy. And more importantly, mostly actually, let me say it this way, when I see your website on my calendar, I always do an audit and send you a 5-minute report, because I'll be able to tell you, hey, here's what I see. Because when we start working, we're going to start working from a point. Either you have content or you don't. Either your website needs structure or you don't. We're working with a client right now. We had the whole SEO thing laid out, but we had to do some cleanup before we even added to the SEO, because there was no point of making a house look clean when there's a lot of dust that needs to be settled. So that's what we focus on, and making sure that everyone is different. So you don't get the same thing, because you get a unique experience because it's your business and it's unique to you. So whatever solution we're going to create, of course, will be the same across, but it will be customized to make sure that it fits and it's tailored to the solutions and the results that you want to see for your business long term. So thank you for being here. Hidden, Deborah, Dr. Fashion, Deolu, those are 3Ds. Thank you for being here. Luan, Belle, Albert, Joshua, Lorraine, Yasmin, Naomi, Hattie, Selena, thank you for being here. Fox, appreciate you for the coins as well, Luan. And I hope this helped you guys gain more insights. Please feel free to click the link above. Connect with me. I'm also here on Clubhouse. I'm on LinkedIn. Connect with me there and let's have a conversation. My LinkedIn is close to now 19,000 connections, followers. I want to make sure that I can share content with you like I am with others, so you don't miss out on information like this, because Clubhouse, you just don't know when this Clubhouse is on and when it's off. But when you're connected here, especially if you turn on the 3 dots, hit on my face, On the right side, you're going to see 3 dots and you'll see notification settings. Turn that to always, so anytime I'm talking, you'll get an app notification that I'm here, so you can talk and connect with me as well if you're on Clubhouse and you have time to spend as well. So I appreciate you all. Your time is valuable. I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful hump day, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now. Welcome to season 13, where you listen, you live, you learn, and you earn. A lot of information is always given on this show. So we're in the 13th season. God has brought us so far, and I just want to thank God for the opportunity to connect with you today on such quiet, calm space like this. So thank you for listening. Know that Jesus loves you, and know that you can always connect with me on the We Don't Play Podcast show. More specifically, go to WeDon'tPlayPodcast.com, or you can go to playinc.online. That is PLAYINC.online, and get in touch with me. Let's get on a call. Let's talk. Let's focus on SEO for 2026 and beyond. So until we meet in the next episode, God bless you. Jesus loves you. Stay hydrated, stay safe, and stay blessed, and stay tuned. Bye for now.